So welcome to Newport, Rhode Island, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm in America. This is my first time to your beautiful country and everyone is super friendly. So this is good fun. As you can see, it's a bit of a wet and miserable day today, so it's not my usual type of walkthrough, but we're just going to make do with what we've got, so to speak. So let's start at the galley, which is back here. We're going to do the full walkthrough. So if you're new to the channel, my name's Dan Jones. You're watching Dan's Boat Life. Welcome. And if you are interested in this boat and you want to see how she performs, we have just done that in the pouring rain. See, I'm still actually soaked through, but it was an interesting test. I did learn a lot, and it did confirm my thoughts that I already had about this brand. Because I have driven the 45 Sabre in big rolling offshore conditions, cruising along at 27 knots. And I just thought to myself, wow, like if you're stepping out of sailing and you've done some long distance cruising or even just coastal cruising back home or anywhere, lots of people do that here too. And you just want something comfortable where you control the weather, because let's face it, doesn't always do what you want it to do. Like, this is a great solution, and I see many people probably seeing some value in getting into something like this, and it's gorgeous from every angle, and it's classic and it's classy. So I think that's going to appeal to many of you as well. But we'll just start here in the middle of the boat. She's more like 66 feet overall. So when they say the 58 Salon Express, they're just talking about the water line. There's a lot more boat than the 58 feet that you would assume they're referring to. But here, what we could refer to as a bit of the heart of the boat, we can obviously prepare meals from here and serve forward or served aft. We will go out there in the pouring rain a little bit later in this video, because there's an awesome amount of social space, a lovely lounge, which we've taken the cushions off because this is a brand new boat and I didn't really want them to get soaking, and plenty of sun protection from this deployable shore shade. So it's a real multi-use kind of area. You can cruise along on a winter's day in that nice soft winter sun and enjoy yourself feeling quite cool out there, or protect yourself as well. Next thing, before I get to the galley, these doors are really well constructed. They don't vibrate even when they're open. Some doors do, so pay attention to that if you're test driving a boat. And when they are closed, it's like a sound insulation seal. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but it just locks all the sound of the engines, which are actually aft of these doors, because they're under the floor, under the cockpit. They're not underneath us here. So there's some really neat engineering going on to keep a lot of that sound out and away from us and give our experience something more like what you're probably used to cruising down the highway on your really bougie European luxury sedan, I assume. So essentially we can get out of the way if people need to pass forward and aft when you've got the party sort of charging on a sunny or not so sunny Sunday afternoon. You can prepare all your food here. We've got lots of prep space. Really, really big sink, deep sink, hot and cold. We've got our water filter just here. More prep space here. A couple little cookers, just 2 electric cooktops just here. That'd be an extractor fan, I assume. But see the outlines here and here, and see the storage pantry area just up here. Well, you know, as I've commented before, some of us are not that tall, and Sabre have actually allowed for that. so if you've got a dodgy shoulder or you're just not that tall, they've allowed for you. How cool is that? I think that is so cool. It is an option, but I just thought that was super fancy. So if you are, I'm 5'7", if you're my height or shorter, you will probably appreciate this. And if you're even getting someone to come aboard for the day and make the lunch for you, they might appreciate it too. But it doesn't end there. There's also, this is James Bondy stuff. I love that. So this is just a good space utilization and a nice way to present all your items. You've got these pull-out thingamajiggies here, so you can lock a few plates in there and they're not going to rattle around, and you can use different sizes. So that's just really fancy, I thought. The construction of the interiors on these boats, it's all hand done, and you'll you'll notice, actually just come in a bit closer, Jed. Look at all this. This is all real timbers, and can you see all the joins? How it's all been done by a craftsman or woman. I will be going to the Sabre factories. That's going to be another video, I should say, coming in the next week or two. But it's noticeable, is what I'm trying to point out by saying this. Everywhere you go, you can smell the timbers. You can see the solid nature of it all. This just pulls out here, so that's a clever design, and it just gives you a completely different vibe compared to your veneers that many of us are going to be used to. It's the feeling of, have you been to like a cabin on a lake? When you go and you get away from it all, you know, I know a lot of Aussies don't have cabins on lakes, but if you've done it here in America, I've done it in Canada, and it just gives you that vibe of you getting away from it all. You get a little bit of that vibe in this interior is kind of what I'm feeling. So this is just the bin storage area. There's a fire extinguisher in there. We've got some charging points. Really, really good work space here. So you could prepare all your food and your platters and then probably put them along here. And as people want to serve up their lunch, they can bring a plate, and then sit outside. These are all refrigeration. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this one might be a freezer because I see ice in there. I'm not exactly sure. But that's all of them have been designed to go to sea because we can lock them down in case of a heavy seaway. I must say the inherent stability on this hull and the other Sabres that I've driven so far, it's incredibly low center of gravity. So the thing is quite stable. That's all I have to say. But the option, let me just push this down, I think it was. The option for a Seakeeper is there, and we do have that on board this boat. So that is pretty cool. Air conditioning outlets, grab handle as we move forward, and we come up the one step. So Jed, you go back there and just look forward. So now we're in the saloon. First thing you're going to notice, there's some empty space here. It's not for doing yoga, although yes, I'm sure you can if you choose. And it's actually standard with a lounge all the way across here, but you can option it with 2 beautiful reading chairs. Now this particular boat, she's brand spanking new. They're actually doing some custom reading chairs in this location. So the standard ones are off, the custom ones are being manufactured, and they'll be installed when they're ready, I guess. So you just have a little bit of space in between to store your books, or if you have one of those electronic reading devices. I'm a big fan of those now. I'm traveling quite a lot, so I don't have to carry so many books. What a great location to do that. Underneath me here, we've got some air conditioning. We have some storage just there, and the leather, super fancy. This must be ultra leather. I think that's what you call it, but it's very high quality. This is some of the best stuff that I feel on boats. It just, when you touch it, it feels like quality. That's what I have to say about that. The table, again, coming close, Jed, just check out the detail and the grain of the timber and how they've done all this. It's really nice. It's very much of a statement piece. And the top of that little thing in between the 2 reading chairs is a similar quality of finish. So it really pops, which is nice. Air conditioning, ice maker, just here. Logical location for that. So that's important. Aircon control, stereo just there. Before, go back again a bit, Jed, I just want to point out this roof detailing. This also sets the scene. You know, it's a miserable day today, so it's the view outside like we would normally be enjoying is not present. We've obviously come back to the marina because, you know, there wasn't any point if we didn't have much visibility out there. So having all of this, the light roof, the timber details, the down lights, the air conditioning, the big speakers just here, it's really creating that nice kind of, I'm feeling cabin vibes, but you leave me a comment and tell me what you think, because it's quite pleasant. And then when you come into this part of the boat, but before I get there, pop-up TV. So I won't do the whole way, but flat screen TV pops up and swivels around so you can watch your TV on your chairs. And there is a footstool to put your feet up. I saw that, and I'll point that out when we get further into the boat because it's not stored up here. It's got a clever space to store it. So let's check out the helm. So you go over there, Jed, get all this into shot. This is a driver's boat. What do I mean by that? The visibility from the helm is excellent, looking all around. The position, whether you are seated or standing, gives you really good control on what is still a fairly big boat. But this is becoming the new norm. I'm seeing a lot of boats in this size coming out now. And the hull itself carries quite a bit of its dead rise aft. So when you come off those waves, it's going to soften the impact, which gives you a more pleasurable experience. So I would say 27 knots is her happy place. That's what it felt like out on the water today. And for what is such a basically a big boat, it's quite a lot of fun. So, you know, if you've come from the sailing vessel, catamaran or monohull, there's a Swan right next to us actually, and you're done with being out in the elements, this is possibly going to be a really nice luxurious option for you. The throttle is easy and to hand. It is forward. I generally prefer having them aft on the go fast boats, but you got to remember this is a big luxurious sedan, so you're probably going to, if you're actively driving, you're probably going to be standing up like I am right now, in which case the throttle position makes sense. And if you're relaxing on a long passage, you're probably going to be up here in this super bougie chair, because see this, you can do the joystick steering on a long passage. So you can actually just kick back here, elevated, really good viz. These boats run hard, fast and flat. So you'll be doing 27 knots through the waves, and you can actually just have your feet up if you want and just control it with the joystick. So that's why I see this placement of the controls as being logical in my mind. The other thing that I think is logical from a driver's boat perspective is that we have the helm all the way to starboard. Now, I do enjoy having central helms, and there are solutions in terms of the dock assist technology, which makes them valid on many boats. But if you're old school, as I suspect you may be, because you're a sailor or you've got sailing on your mind, you're probably going to want to have direct access to the decks. And that's what having this door, which I'm not going to open because it's pouring with rain, will do for you. So, you know, wheel on starboard, navigator right next to you here, everything we need with our multifunction displays. We've got cameras in the engine room, cameras looking aft. They automatically activate when you go into joystick mode. So it's really, you don't have to think too much when you are coming into the dock, and you need to free up some of that headspace for the important things. So I've got my side power thruster. Looks like a variable speed electric thruster for the bow just here. The wheel is adjustable. The wheel is a work of art. I've got individual wiper controls. They were useful today. I like being able to turn port, middle and starboard off, because if you just copped a wave and that windscreen was the only one that copped a bit of water on it, well then that's fine. Got my spotlight control here. I've got my Garmin control just here. My boat systems, got some charging, 240, 110 here in America. So there you go, their plugs are different. And open, close, that's for the optional massive sunroof. I mean, leave a comment and let me know what you think, but I would certainly, even though it's quite expensive, I would still value this, because again, a day like today, if you're stretching out your season up here in the Northern Hemisphere, or you're just going all year round like we do, on the darker, miserable days, it creates quite a pleasant environment. So, and you can suck a bit of air through, which is important as well, and you can knock it out with these Ocean Air. I think they're Ocean Air. I'm not too sure. But you can knock out the sun with that one, and you can just do the Mozzie screen with that one, which will also knock a little bit of sun out as well. If you have it open all the time on like Australian summer's day, you're going to burn your head, so put some sunscreen if you're bald. Now, VHF just here. I've never used these. That's a new display for me, so we'll have to investigate these on another test, but it's got all the usual controls there, so that's what's going on there. These seats will come forward and aft, and you've also got some control on the backrest, and that leather appears to be the same leather we have on the other seats. It's very, very high quality. I don't think they swivel around to face aft. It doesn't look like there's enough room, but you can move these armrests by pressing, I think it's this button. There you go. So you can get in and out of the seat a little bit easier if need be. Underneath here, we've got storage for all your booze. So that looks like bottles of spirits just there, some wine in there. I reckon that's the cutlery drawer. Even though the galley's back there, it makes sense because you'd be setting the table just there, or maybe it's just for fancy cutlery if you're having like a fancy day. So that could be the solution to that as well. And I think it's time to focus on this side. So Jed, you come over. So yeah, functional, workable Helm. I've got AC venting all the way on both sides across the top, and I've also got demisting for the windows. We did actually use that today. From a passenger's perspective, this is going to be one of the best seats in the house on passage. You're going to have excellent visibility. See how long these seats are with the raised cushion here. You don't even need to add any throw cushions to make this comfortable. You would enjoy yourself for many hours at a time. And then obviously assuming this position, you could probably just fall asleep because it is that good. These hulls, I personally think are really great hulls. But come in close and look at the details here. Look at the care and attention. This is a different timber to that. I don't know how they do that. Well, I hopefully will find out at the factory because it looks fantastic. And it's obviously just giving you some grip for your feet, but it's just a nice, unique way of doing it that we don't see on other boats. And it just shares a bit of a story of this area, which I'm learning, because everywhere you go, people care about the presentation of their houses, their villages, and their boats out the front. It's that sort of vibe that you get around here. So we got all these blinds that pull up all the way around the boat, so we can totally protect the timber work from the sun. We've got the C-zone operation, so we have one here, and it is movable. So if you haven't used C-zone before, it's fantastic. You can just press day, night, a dock unattended, day cruising, night cruising. It basically switches all the switches on that are required for that task, rather than you having to go down to the switchboard and do them all individually. It's definitely the way to go on a bigger, more complex boat like this. So come on down, let's check out the accommodation. We've got these beautiful grips on the stairs, light switches here. Just look at the timber over the stainless steel grab rails. It's just very nice, and it's also unique. I just haven't seen this on other boats before. We got little lights illuminating the floor. So we've got some mood lights, down lights, and then floor lights as well. We're going to go straight into the master. Before we get there, just get all this in shot, Jed, because you have to see this. So we have washer and dryer area and storage for all your towels. So isn't that cool? And these doors will push in like that. So you can actually work at this area quite effectively, and then you can fold up all your towels and put them in the drawers here, and then you've even got this little storage area just here for more items, and then you've got more storage under here and even under the step there. So this is a really useful area for long cruising, which is definitely something you would do on this boat, because whilst you can cruise at 27 knots, also have in your mind that 8 and 10 knots is fine too. And just imagine the extra range that you get with that. But come on in here. This is why I get those cabin vibes. What do you reckon? Like, how cool is this? We got windows out here. I've closed them because it's just a blue catamaran next to us. But 1, 2, 3 windows, blinds are down. We've got this beautiful timber bedhead with more finishings just here, which is so nice. And we've got the roof like we saw in the saloon with a similar vibe. It's just creating quite the scene when you get down here. Heaps of space, massive bed, and as you can probably already notice, it's offset. So we're on the starboard side and you're sleeping facing port. We've got these almost, Japanese inspired doors that come into your wardrobe. So smell it. Well, you can't, but I can. It smells great. And then you've got these drawers just in here, hanging as well, and then more in here. And what I note when I explore this boat everything is accessible. Everything has been built in to be accessed. That they're not hiding any part of the boat. So for longevity, I think that's great. Bedside tables here. We've got charging, got the AC, we've got the reading lights, we've got the more AC up there. So that must be intake and that must be outlet. We've got drawers underneath the bed. So you can put your blankets under here, and then another one, more lights illuminating the floor. And you can really organize his and hers. So if you get somewhere for budgie smugglers and bikinis on this size. So that's all quite convenient for your summer organization, t-shirts and shorts. And in here, it's actually an electronics room. Also a good place for hard luggage, which you're probably going to have, some of you guys, because let's face it, a lot of you are going to leave your boats up at Hamilton Island and you need to fly in. So they've actually designed that in such a way that you can slot in all the entertainment accessories if you so desired. But look at this. You've got your own little office. Got the swing out chair just here. You put your laptops in there. You got some plugs and you can just sit here and do your emails looking out through that window just there. And you can put probably cables and more electronics, office related, would store quite happily up there. And then in here is the biggest head and shower on the boat. So she's 3 cabins and 3 heads. Now, does it go in? Yes. Whew, just I was reluctant because it's so strong, this door. That's not going to rock around too much in a seaway. But this is your separate stand-up shower. We've got a window. We've got a couple of drink holders, which is going to be just good for holding your shampoo and conditioner. You've got a small towel rack there. AC just here. It's real glass, hot and cold, more AC. And then this is all, looks like real tiles. I don't know if it actually is or not, but it looks like real tiles. And then this big stainless steel door holder there. So that's going to be good for rocking through some waves. I might just, how do I operate this one? I'll try. I don't know how. Anyway, there's a window through there. I'm not going to try and do it when I don't know how to do it. We've got our toilet roll holder here. Got our electric toilet just here. We've got 2 big storage lockers in there. And we've got that. You know, you can put some bits and pieces in there. And then decent amount of storage. So for his and hers, you can each pick a side and you're not really going to struggle for this organization in here. And you've also got places to hang your towels. I don't think they're heated. I think that's something they do in this part of the world. Obviously, we're not so worried about that. And big mirrors on this door here, so you can check yourself out before you go. And I mentioned that stool swings out as well to make it comfortable for you. So we're going to go forward to the VIP, but it's a 3 cabin boat with 3 heads. So the day head is probably going to be this one because whilst it's accessed from the VIP via this door here makes more sense for day-to-day access. I'll actually just close this one so you can see, because we also have a separate stand-up shower in this one. Some opening ports, some AC. What's behind here? Oh, more storage here for shower stuff. And then big grab handle, I've got to say, just there. If you were trying to operate underway, you've got something to hold on to. Fixed mirror just here, and on really good slides, 2 of these. Can you see that, Jed? But look at all, smell the timber. It's so nice. And then this must be marble, and then we've got the proper sink just here. Give me the camera and I'll just let you guys appreciate how the loo is. There you go. So this is your day head access just here, and then this is the private access. They're on magnetic stoppers as you open, but you would, if you're the VIP, if you're lucky enough to be the VIP, you're going to be going this way because this door closes off this cabin from the outside. So come on in. We've got a proper full stand-up mirror just on port. And then remember how I mentioned there was somewhere to put your feet up to watch the TV? It's stored here, and it's magnetically held in place. So that's just kind of cool. And it's got, I felt like it was carpet. Oh yeah, see, got these things on the bottom, so you can slide it around on the teak floor, and it's not going to damage anything. But appreciate all this. Beautiful, big island bed, AC, reading lights, escape hatch, forward facing, going to suck a lot of air down. A second escape hatch just here, also forward facing. 2 port lights on either side. Just look at the stainless steel. This is little ship stuff on these boats. Isn't it lovely? So you just undo them like that. And then we've got our hanging lockers just in here, all timber lined. Got fire extinguishers in there. And then we've got extra little storage on port and starboard for more things. So that's going to be useful. But we do have our drawers and a TV on the port side just there. So just stay in this cabin, guys. I'm going to show you something pretty cool. In here, and you found this earlier. How cool is this? So this is a bit of a technical space. We are going to go to the engine bay, which is massive. You can stand up in there. But so we're forward all the way in the boat right now. So give me that camera. I'll bring you down with me. So we've got a variable speed electric bow thruster, which you don't really always need to use because we are operating this boat with a joystick. So it's quite easy, but you have the option, and that's nice. So you can get in it. If you do the shear pin, you can change it from in here. You've got your bow thruster batteries forward, and then we've got quite a large hot water tank just there. This whole area is insulated just here. But look back here. I hope you can appreciate this. This is like another cabin. It's huge, and that's actually the holding tank just there, and you can see from where the head on port and starboard drain into it just there. And we can also see some bilge pumps as well. And they've even got some 110 volt electricity down here. So I assume that means they can, giving you the option to install more equipment should you need. So that's just cool. That's really, it gives you a lot of options. If you want to install more equipment in the boat, I'd say that's probably a good place to do it. And the center of gravity is going to be really good because it's balancing the boat out with the fuel tanks and the engines aft. So I think that's sensible. Okay, let's check out the final cabin. So this is the kiddies cabin. Come on in. Loads of headroom. This would probably be the space you store all your cushions if you didn't have external covers. I would personally externally cover them so I don't even have to do that, but you do you. Natural ventilation. That is really one of the main positives, one of the many positives of this boat. An escape hatch with more ventilation. Whilst we have the option for AC, yes, generator AC, you're never struggling for cross-flow air, and these ports are huge. I'm a fan of that. I think if you're a sailor, you will be too. Nice single bunks. These ones are fixed in position. I assume it's an option to join them together should you choose. We've got reading lights. The lights are dimmed at the moment, so they're not at their full strength. TV on the bulkhead. Now, how's that going to work? Because you're sitting that way. I don't know. Not sure how that works. Proper hanging locker in here. Similar vibe to our lake cottage. And then your own loo in here with separate stand-up shower, fixed mirror, got some storage underneath. We do have these sliding things in here with the beautiful timber finish behind and a nice sink. So even though this is the kiddies cabin, you don't feel like you've drawn the short straw here on the starboard side. I think it's very, very nice. Okay, let's go have a look at the engine bay. Hopefully you can hear the solid nature of that door. So it really does provide a lot of sound insulation. So I want you to picture a beautiful sunny tropical day with turquoise water surrounding us. Just ignore all the boats and the pouring rain because that's probably not going to be what you're experiencing out here. If you do have too much sun, you can protect yourself with this shore shade above us just here. So that will deploy, and I did test it over the weekend at the boat show, all the way out to here. So you can actually protect everyone from the sun. This lounge just here will seat about 5 people. It's really, really comfortable, and it's the upholstery. Obviously, you can select different styles of upholstery. It was just super cool. It was very boaty. The table, as you can see, is top quality. That polished timber, that's lovely. Engine access below us just here, which we'll get to in a second, and 2 lockers on starboard and port. They're drained, great for fenders and for rope as well. But just appreciate this space that we have here, and just imagine the amount of deck chairs you can get out here. So you could set up directors' chairs and seat this, people in this whole area, or if you're having a bit of a party and you just want to lounge on the rails just here, you do have a lot of movable or usable space out here. And because we are elevated with the engines below us, the views out over the water are really, really nice. So that's just something to consider. Now, where are you going to store those deck chairs? Well, you're going to store them back here. So you go down the port side, Jed, and this is a neat little solution. This is just a storage lazarette with this electrically operated door. We've got the shore power deployed on starboard. Perfect place for some director's chairs, some extra fenders, even though we have fender storage in the cockpit and forward in the bow as well. But that's a super handy, neat little place. And the reason why I like this door going up and down like this is that you can still operate it if you've got a tender in the tender chocks, which we'll have a look at right now. So it's never going to get in the way. And see this rope here? You are going to need to do that when you're pulling up alongside. So having the ability to slide it up and down, not interfere with ropes, not interfere with tenders, is super handy. So this is the hydraulic drop down swim platform. This allows for air to pass through when you've got some waves, and here are our chocks. So when you do have your tender attached, they're just going to be in the chocks. And pay attention to the construction materials used. We're not going for timbers here on deck. So the Aussies watching, just think about the maintenance side of this. It's going to be minimal. We're just using hard plastics, and we're not going with overloading on the timber side of things. Yes, the hull is blue, but you can choose to have other colors. So don't fret about that, but just come out onto the deck and just appreciate something. I hope this is going to be visible in the rain. Just if you look down the side, this is gel coat. This is not a painted hull. This is how it comes out of the mold, and the smoothness and the quality that they have achieved straight out of the mold, it's pretty bloody good. It's very bloody good, I have to say. So some skill had to go into the construction of this hull, if that's the simplest way to put it. We do have beautiful timber gunnels, so that's highly polished. That's going to require a little bit of touching up once a year for the Aussies watching. But then pay attention to the rest of the boat. Whilst we just have some timber highlights here and here and on the gunnels, the rest of the boat, we're really just looking at stainless steel and fiberglass. So that's why I really like this design for our climate, because the sun does rip everything up, so you don't want to have too much of the teak all over the decks. So I think that's quite practical. So let's go and have a look around the bow. That's just the engine extractor fans. We've got the kid and doggy door just here. What do we have here? Okay, underwater lights, cockpit lights, and then that's going to be up and down for the swim platform there. Some cleats just here. We've got some deck lights around here. The rails are designed in such a way that you can step off the boat here. So that's low and accessible. And this here, can you see, is your handhold. So if you're not steady or confident on your feet, don't do this job. Get someone else to do it. But it has been designed for you to step off here in the right situations. Now, like we had on the 45, we've got this beautiful curved glass. You need to appreciate the amount of design and engineering that goes into putting something like this on a boat, because boats have flex and you've got to bash through the ocean. So that's impressive to see. It also gives you good visibility. So going forward, we've got a grab handle just here. We can hold on here as well. Even the roof structure gives us a little bit of support, and we've got some down lights that's going to illuminate the whole boat of an evening. Because it's a beautiful boat, you want to have an evening setup that makes the thing look handsome. It's certainly going to achieve that. We've got our navigation lights, windscreens. It's all the windows are fixed on the port side and to the front windscreen. The only opening is the sunroof and the helm door, if you want to get fresh air through the cabin. So just appreciate this bow before we get back to the roof, Jed. It's just elegant in the way they've designed this. These are all the deck hatches that we were seeing from down below. Stainless steel, and then this cream color is grip under your feet, so it's going to be good for your boat shoes. The white here is gel coat, so this is going to be a little bit slipperier. So if you were stepping from here to here on a wet day, don't step there, just step here. It's going to be a little bit wiser. This is all vacuum infused as well, guys, so you might have seen me talk about that on some other videos. Basically, they're pulling the resin through the fiberglass, which gives you a lot of strength and rigidity and at the minimal possible weight. So this boat is actually a few tons lighter than the Riviera 585 that I tested the other day, which is a beautiful boat. So that was just an interesting note when I was having a look at the specs. So it looks like we've got the option to plug in a shore power just here, freshwater washdown. This was the fender storage that I was talking about in the bow, and I can even see a hook, so the lines can go around the hook so you don't have to reach all the way down if you don't have long arms. So that's considerate. The anchor setup itself is lovely because we can pull a mooring up here and put it onto that cleat there, and then we can drop the anchor just here. So that looks like it will all work. Even if you're swinging on the mooring, I don't think it's going to interfere with the anchor too much, so that appears like it's been considered correctly. I was going to test that today, but the weather and the time just didn't allow for us. We got our safety just here. It's a quick electric windlass. You got the clutch, but you also have a brake just in here. Foot controls there, and let's have a look at the chain locker. Oh no, this is more fender storage. There's heaps of fender storage on this. So if you were taking this boat to the Med and you needed to have, say, 12 fenders instead of 6, totally fine. You can have, you know, a couple in there, and all the other storage down the back of the boat. And accessing the chain locker is just through some side doors, which I can see in here, and another shore power outlet just there. So basically this is mirroring what we saw on the other side. Final point before we make our way to the engine. If the chain comes up dirty, see how this has all been dammed in here, and we even have drains here and here. That's quite clever because you can, using your deck washdown, you can hose the chain, and if it is a little bit dirty in this area, you're going to confine the mess to this one area rather than it running down the decks of your boat. So that's good. I like that. This was in the bow VIP cabin, that opening deck hatch that we saw before. So come on down the side of the boat, and let's just, before we do that, appreciate, 1, 2, 3 windscreen wipers. Let's have a look at the roof. We can't miss this. So we've got the radar mast with the full-on, we got multiple radars on this one. Then we got the domes, we've got the Starlink set up. So that's pretty cool. This is the first time I've been in a boat with Starlink, but we've been using the internet and it works. The spotlight above the radar, we've got the FLIR system. It's going to be good in a fog. And then we've got our navigation lights and VHF lights up there as well. And, you know, I think if you wanted to store some kayaks, just pay attention to the movement of the sunroof, because that's going to have some clearance considerations. You probably could mount some racks up here to store a few kayaks or some sup boards, and I think that's a logical place to do it, and getting up and down isn't going to be too much of a problem. So just something to think about. So now come on down, just watch your step there, Jed. So we're going down the starboard side. This was our helm door. It opens this way, so it gives you good access, and when it is open you can still pass forward and aft without any issues. There's your water in here, diesel on starboard, we saw diesel on port. I'll just open up this one locker here so you can see the size of it. before we then get into the engine bay and wrap this video up, and maybe the rain will stop or it won't. So we could get 2 fenders in here, and then you can put your lines on this ledge just above it, just here. It's actually, oops, watch your step there, Jed. Almost lost you. And so you can put lines just there. We've just got some deflated fenders in now. So Jed, you go to the one side and I will operate this switch here, and just watching your toes. So these are fake latches. They don't actually have a purpose because it's electrically actuated like so. And come on down. Whew. It's actually nice to get into the warmth of the engine room because it's getting a little bit nippy. So we got the IPS 950. So there's 725 shaft horsepower on these, and they've designed this boat in such a way that the IPS drive is right there. So that allowed them to mount the engine aft of the saloon itself. So that's good for noise insulation. Oh, just take that off. Give me the camera, Jed, and I'll bring you guys down with me. It's quite a way down here. So I'm standing up. I got full headroom in here, but I will just turn on the engine room lights. This is impressive. So we got about 3,030 litres. I think that's 800 gallons. I'll put it on the screen because I'm still learning American. We got the Seakeeper. Clearly that's been designed to accommodate one from the start. I got a battery bank just next to that. And then we've got, look at all that power distribution, all of the 24 volt and 12 volt DC. It's all marked. And then we've got inverter chargers by the looks of it. We've even got a little toolbox and its own little mount here with a tap. How cool is that? All our refrigeration. That looks like pressure for the water underneath. Raw water pickups. And then we come around to port. This is the port tank. They've got sight gauges on each tank. We've got the Raycor filters. So you've got dual filters. You can flip them over there if you like. Here is all of your fuses, again, individually marked. They look like, I think we might have some 110 in there. I'm still getting my head around 110. And then here are the motors themselves. And as you can see, they're straight onto the IPS drive unit just there. We've got our shore power cable deployment, center line aft, a massive Fireboy system with an Onan genset. I'm guessing that's about 17.5 kVA on that one. And then we can see the raw water pickup for the motors. And then you can see the filters just there. And then we've got another shore power lead just there. Very well insulated. Extractor fans. We're going to pull some air through this whole space. So if you're a mechanic, I don't think you're going to struggle in this space whatsoever. Looks like some hydraulics above that starboard tank there. So that's really, really impressive. I like that. So that's the boat, guys. That's actually not the boat. That's another Sabre. I've come to Booth Bay Harbour. Had to get some sunshine and a better location because that rain was sort of wearing on me. But the 58 Salon Express, she's a beauty. You can compare her with a Palm Beach. You can compare her with a Riviera for sure. Put it in the same category. She's a driver's boat, absolutely. And if you are the sort of person who's coming from a serious cruising sailing yacht and you want to get into, essentially stay on the water and get into a motorboat, enjoy more speed, greater comfort, less time out in the ocean, it's an excellent boat for that. It really is. Equally, if you want to do your luxurious Sydney Harbour day boat thing just on a beautiful down east style day boat with lots of people, of course, because she's 65 feet, she'll do that exceptionally well. We saw the accommodations. The whole family cruising thing, without a doubt, is possible too. So yeah, I'll leave a link to the test drive video, which is coming up now. We're going back to the rainy weather, so it will be a proper test. Feel free to search through my channel video section if you want to see some of the comparative boats like the Riv 585 SUV, which I have also tested and is worthy of your attention. But come along, join us for the test drive and let me know what you think. I'm interested in this. I love to read all the comments and see what you guys learn and absorb from all these boat videos that we're making. My name's Dan Jones. You've been watching Dan's Boat Life. See you on the next one.